Hello and welcome back to Coin Matters channel. Law is not governance. The present paid development teams would have you believe this, since it is how they want to keep everyone in line with their understanding of how the system works. The most persistent problem with such endeavors is that individuals will tinker with a system that has already been set up and proven effective in order to make it perform the way they think it should. Therefore, according to hexagon governance, it is not necessary to resort to law in order to engage in debate, distribute funding, or make changes to Layer 1 protocol code. You can change the code to make things lawful, but until then, it is not law. In my opinion, this is absolutely true at this point. Wrong. I also think that good governance is essential to our blockchain's success. Without proper administration, this blockchain wouldn't mean anything. We're not a consensus-based or distributed control blockchain, are we? Why have Commonwealth if law is not the basis of government? When do we need proposals, anyway? To what end are validators employed? This right to vote seems pointless. When you hear someone argue that government is not law, you have to rethink everything. Respect for governance stems from the fact that legislation is based on governance. It would be terrible if we were continually looking at our sister chain, Luna. They are now going through the Alliances and Fever process, but if we look at Alliance and Feather, correct, Alliance and Feather was agreed instead of expedition. Is the development team straying from that? No, since all the validators would be incensed that it was approved by a governance. If their top developers suddenly began making pits in what they believed was Alliance and Feather JavaScript, that would be a problem. They wouldn't be pleased with even a minor change to it. The difference is that they have no interest in this sequence. They will therefore make very little noise about it. To these, kind of like higher powers that be, it's simply more arguing because they don't care. They are not as accustomed to this way of life as the majority of us are. They dismiss this as petty squabble, despite the gravity of the issues at stake. And if you check the news, you'll see that many of the stories are now stating my idea is a watershed moment that will determine the future of our blockchain and signal the beginning of the end of the downward spiral we've been in. People who had previously had no faith in one another are now doing so, thanks to the elimination of the Trust Me Bro app and the implementation of a paper milestone system. They want developers to take responsibility. Yes, governance has been disobeyed, as confirmed by all validators. The answer is yes, it is mandatory. If holding it for a month delays development, so be it, at least things will be better from there on out. By doing away with the need for Trust Me Bro, we're making a better impression on anyone outside of the crypto community who may be considering getting involved. This includes anyone reading the many news outlets that cover the industry. I agree with the consensus that SHIB is a gateway cryptocurrency, as many people invest in it after hearing about the recent burning controversy. Then they will understand how everything functions. Then people start to dabble in other things because they think, well, I'm waiting for SHIB area, and you've already hooked them. This, then, is the means through which we advance. This is the first step toward accomplishing our goals. It's time to do away with the Trust Me Bro mentality and the idea that people can and should self-regulate and take responsibility for their actions, because this is totally unacceptable. That's why management at the restaurant shouldn't hire them, then, right? To act in the same way as them. Alright, let them do it if that's what they want to do. Create whatever you like. You're free to operate whatever sort of endpoints you like, but please stop robbing the coins from a community that's on the verge of collapse. At this point, a shift of some kind is inevitable. And I can tell you for sure that if people think like this, the blockchain itself is developed and built around the governance system, and that if a proposal goes up and the validators and the community agree on consensus, that is what should happen, then that is what happens, then everything would have been built from that mind map and that cultivation. The biggest problem with such people is that they would always seek to make everything fit their own will and ignore the consequences. This is why guys like Edward Kim and Tobias can go out and create entropy and significant pause in the documentation chain. You've got Hexagon, you've got Terra port, you've got Lunatics token, you've got DF Link protocol. they're releasing index, and they're gonna launch a currency soon, and there are so many individuals who have gone off and done so many other things. Everyone is striving for the privatization of some industry. There is no real struggle for control of the blockchain that provides food for everyone. I know that everyone is just trying to take advantage of it. But if everyone does this, authority is weakened, and things continue as they are now, we will continue to appear like fools to the world. We are endangering not only our own resources, but also those of our investors. This is why I voted against the plan to burn the whole ozone fund. It is badly written. The way it's written makes it sound like you're planning to destroy all of the coins if it passes. To be sure. Thankfully, it hasn't passed, and it doesn't appear likely to do so either. Not yet, in my opinion. Not at all. Sigh of relief. Obviously, we have access to such materials. I get it completely. The desire to burn among the populace is widespread. But we can't just steal money out of people's pockets. As a result, I often find myself asking, what's a good example of things passing and not happening? The O1 development team just collapsed after claiming that we had achieved parity. They are still getting compensated because we are not yet at parity. Furthermore, the portrayal of government has been misleading. There has been a breakdown in governance, and now everyone is free to use it any way they see fit, including as a weapon. The possibility of a significant flameout is another major factor, right? The proposition is accepted once the pledge of 800 million USTC is burnt. Okay, good, we can move on. Exactly, that is the course of action we have taken. That's the consensus among the locals. That's the consensus of the validators. Put it in the fire. I don't feel any pain. These plans have not been burned because the people battling over them do not have the money to accomplish it. When the USTC Quantium finally came forward to admit that they hadn't been lying about their lack of access to the cash, the result was widespread panic. It doesn't matter that there are only 800 million in that wallet because there are many more in all the other wallets. Let's burn it all and not think about it anymore. True, but we don't use such coins. That's cool with me. By making changes to the blockchain state, we can begin removing coins from users' wallets immediately. No, it won't happen that way, and nobody will ever have access to the God code. There are a lot of uncertainties right now. Nobody is taking the time to make sure everything is in order. And now they're sounding more and more like militias. A USTN coin is on the table, so to speak. And, I'm going to keep telling folks that. I think it's important for everyone to realize that if the Luna Classic falls, we TZ have no master. They are not accountable to anyone but themselves. They're emotionally detached since they no longer care about anyone. No cost to you. The only algorithmic stable coin in existence at the moment makes them available at no cost. And I believe that everyone needs to snap out of it. The risks are really high, and they have to know that. The persons at the top of the USTC repack stand to gain an unimaginable fortune. Who exactly is involved in that USTC as an arbitrage mechanism, and who is ultimately responsible for the repack? It's all very strange right now, and I believe that as a community we've always relied on the fact that, okay, we'll pay them and then we'll trust them to do the work. However, this hasn't been effective for quite some time. Therefore, I propose that we implement a paper split milestone system immediately to pull every development team out of this hole. That makes sense, at least until someone makes a mistake. Until anything like this happens, a deviation goes off, of course the community isn't happy. Have to constantly pass a proposal every week like they're whining, they may have to. When we submit our proposal for the next round of funding, everything will be fine until the stars align again, right? Oh, they're back in sync, they've agreed to carry out this exciting new plan, and a week and a few days later, their financing has been restored. It's actually quite simple, Nearly a month has passed since we first arrived. Doing nothing while the whole team keeps telling us that they're going to build the station, then can't, then maybe can. Oh, we can accomplish that now that we have access to the source code repository. Sadly, that cannot be helped. Some people want to erase 800 USTC, while others want to burn them, and we don't have the expertise to argue about it. Some individuals would like to do all of these things, but we can't since we don't have the resources. It has taken us about a month to resolve these two issues. Right. So, I don't think it's a bad idea to pause development for at most a month. In my opinion, the worst that might happen is a 2-week cold. Okay, we won't cut off their funding right now. Is this a sign that they intend to cease progress? The money is still in their account, thus they can't. My plan doesn't specify that existing funds will be cut and later repaid to the neighborhood. But this only means they shouldn't acquire the next round of investment until conditions are more favorable. The paper milestones are in place as well. Share your thoughts with me, people. I trust you had a wonderful weekend. It's crucial that you recognize the unstated assumptions underlying people's opinions on what the proper role of blockchain technology should be. And as we all know, they can twist it to fit their needs. People who act this way have no place here. We're looking for people who will take the system for what it is, rather than trying to make it fit their own preferences and agendas. The community as a whole is beginning to wake up to what I believe to be a very significant problem. All throughout, validators are starting to come to life. Despite the proposal's contentiousness, validators are beginning to weigh in on it. CoinPay software developers and other influential people have weighed in to confirm that authority must be respected. And no, developers shouldn't be able to abuse this blockchain in this way and expect to keep doing so without consequence. And then when someone puts up a proposal like this, which is really on point to what it is, it sends such a huge signal to the outside world, to the inside community, to further and future development teams, and to current development teams that, hey, we're not going to put up with this no more, and you will be shut down in a sense that you won't get funding until you do what governance has been past loads of people like, oh, you know, HCC, he wants this. It's what he's after. Instead, I make suggestions, and if others accept them, they become binding agreements. That's the plan under consideration. That's the process that's followed. I can only image the outrage of the Terra rebels, nicknamed the Hexagon, should they propose spam. We didn't hand it to him because, after all, it's just a suggestion. It's not something we want to give to you. Unquestionably a standard. In any case, it has no legal standing. And in the end, please hit that like button and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.